and welcome back to my channel. Before I begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my subscribers, all my viewers, for the likes, the comments, everything. Guys, this is probably the second last video that I'm going to make for House of the Dragon. I'm going to binge it probably this weekend because I'm not working. I'm going to binge like season 2 and season 3 together and then give my thoughts. There's a fly in here and it's driving me nuts. I'm going to binge season 2 and season 3 together, and then once I've watched it, which is 16 episodes, it's going to be fun. I'll give my overall review because, like I said, season 2 was split, where the last 2 episodes were actually the first 2 episodes of season 3. So season 3 episode 1 and season 3 episode 2 were supposed to be season 2 episode 10, or season 2 episode 9 and season 2 episode 10. So, oh my god, ha! I got him. Almost broke my camera or my phone, and anyways, got them. So, like I was saying, season 2 episode 9 and 10 were put into season 3 episode 1 and 2. So for it to like really make sense, I need to watch season 2 and season 3 together for it to, continuity wise, for it to flow better. There was a lot that happened in this episode. The treasons of Tumbleton. Let's start with Aegon and Aemon. I kind of liked that dynamic and that interaction. I honestly thought when I watched the trailer last week, I thought that Vhagar had come back. Nah, Vhagar didn't come back. But Sunfire had enough strength to fly to Harrenhal. Considering that they were at Rook's Rest, flying to Harrenhal is kind of a flight. So like, good for him for flying that far. And when Aegon climbed off and like walks up to him, Aemon's like on his knees, and he's like, no, it can't be. I thought you were dead. And Aegon's like, I'm alive. Like, it was just like those two. If those two were to pair up from the beginning, Rhaenyra wouldn't have had a chance. Which is interesting because those two are like Rhaenyra and Daemon for the Greens. So he was like, we're gonna go to Tumbleton, we're gonna get our brother in line, get our uncle and cousin in line, and just march on King's Landing and call it a day. Didn't happen. But, you know, the road to, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So that was really interesting. Alice Rivers' story, I want to just presume that she was the wife of Harren the Black when Aegon came with his dragon and burned Harrenhal. Her son eventually did die. However, the old gods, meaning the green men that we see in season 2 and season 3, and the children of the forest, perhaps, because the Isle of Faces is right on the banks of, or right in the middle of the God's Eye, and the Harrenhal is on the banks of the God's Eye. So the children of the forest and the green men cursed her to eventually, or to live forever, even though she wanted it for her child, not for her. I found it was very interesting. So I'd like to explore more of that, perhaps in season 4, because like by the time of Night of the Seven Kingdoms and Game of Thrones, she's nowhere to be seen. So like, where did she go? Rhaenyra in King's Landing. She has fully lost it. She's committing war crimes. She's literally becoming the female Maegor. I can't actually say what they call her in the books because it wouldn't be appropriate for YouTube, but she is becoming female Maegor. Um, her wearing Visenya's like armor, that was really cool. Like that was when I saw her in the pictures and the previews, I like messaged some of my friends and I was like, if she makes Cyrax fight, I'm losing it, because our girl Cyrax literally went through hell in episode 7. So the fact that like if you're gonna make her go and fight in Tumbleton, so I'm glad that didn't actually happen. Um we actually see Joffrey. We don't actually hear him speak, but he's spoken to. I like that he is like has his little like crown, because he is the heir and the Prince of Dragonstone. And I like that like his crown is like a miniature version of Aegon the Conqueror's crown, with like the one ruby in the middle, which is how it's supposed to be in the books. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I don't know. Adam and Alan's relationship is definitely strained because of Bela. And I think it's very interesting where Alan was like, our father made his decision, and Adam and Bela are like, well, we need to go get this man. Like, go get him. Even though Alan was the one who received his finger via mail, and yet he's not like the first one to be like, Rhaenyra, my queen, please, can we just go get him and bring him back? He is your hand. He's put me in this position to serve you in his absence. However, it would be better if he were here. No, he's just devoted to the queen, 110%. Which, you know, good for you, but at the same time, like, my guy, come on. Um, Rhaenyra in the Sept was giving me Cersei vibes for sure. Um, and like then she had Alan take him out of the mortal realm, which I did not like, because I was just like, you could have gone that better. You could have done that in a better way. You could have like dragged him out to the public and been like, he's refusing to anoint me. Like, you know, her crashing out with Daemon actually was very interesting. Because she literally becomes Maegor. Like she's angry. She wants war. She wants to fight. Fine, you do you, boo. Um, how she dismissed it. How she dismissed Massaria was very funny. I think what should have happened is she should have been like, you could dismiss her, fine, but make it kind of like a promotion. Like you're being promoted, but you're being moved to another country. Like you're getting a higher position, but you're not going to be here. You're going to be in our overseas office. Because what she could have honestly said, first of all, have this conversation face to face. Don't send a proxy, but have it face to face and be like, hey, my sons are in Pentos. Do you mind? Because Rhaena's here under house arrest. Bela is now under house arrest. Do you mind going over there and like watching over them? And then I'm going to send a raven when everything is settled, and you can bring them over. Or you can go get them and bring them to Dragonstone and just have them sit there for a while until mommy gets all this sorted out. And then once everything's good and I've won this and my brothers are with the gods, then I could send for you and you can come back and you can be Masters of Whisperers and all that stuff. That would have been the better route to take, because you're dismissing her, but you're making her think that like she's being promoted to a higher position, just the overseas location. That would have been really cool. How she treated Helena, I did not like, because Helena isn't innocent. We see from, I believe it was episode 6 or maybe the beginning of episode 7, where Helena was like, was there no other person that wanted to marry me? We know that there was someone that Rhaenyra had put forward to marry Helena, and it would have just easily been like, Jacaerys and Helena. They're around the same age. Helena's a little bit older. Um, but they're around the same age, and I think if Jace had married Helena, they would have gotten along really well, and he would have been able to pay attention more when she spoke, because they're kind of like kindred spirits, right? Um, and Allison, did her BS thing where she was like, "It was my father, it was my father, it wasn't me." No, girl, it was you. Don't lie. And it's funny because Helena called her out on her lie. She's like, "You always look away when you lie," which is the same thing Kat said to Bran back in season 1 of episode 1 of Game of Thrones. She's like, "You want to know something? You always look at your feet before you lie," which is the same thing Ned did, because when Ned was talking to Robert Baratheon, talking about the Targaryens, he looked at his feet and then he goes, all the Targaryens are dead. They really weren't. Um, so that was very interesting. I think she should have held Helena closer to her chest, and Helena's very intuitive. So Helena knew, like, you're lying, you're ugly, all the things you like are ugly, you're ugly, yada yada yada. Our father would have hated you. What Rhaenyra could have done was like, "Hey, can you spend some time with my son? You're having a child, and he's a child. I'm busy ruling the realm and trying to make sure that chaos doesn't erupt around me. Spend some time together, like talk to him, all that kind of stuff." She did interact with her son, she did interact with Helena. If she had kept Helena close and just been with Helena, walked the halls with her, and just been like, "Let's go out to the God's Eye together," or "Let's go just be outside in nature together," I don't think Helena would have done what she did. Now, what I think is interesting is the fact that there was no Maelor, which in the book there is. Um, and because Maelor is taken from her, both physically, psychologically, emotionally, that's what causes Helena to do what she did. And it's funny because I got a text from one of my friends who's probably watching this video. I got a text from one of my friends, and he was like, "Did that actually happen in the books?" And I was like, "Yes. However, it happened because of a different reason. It happened because of A instead of just B." So it was very interesting. I'm glad that they didn't show it. They just kind of showed the aftermath of it, because I think if they had shown it, it would not have been good. And Rhaenyra just like shutting the window and not being the end of the season, I was like, no, please, there needs to be more. Madness. Absolute madness. Um, let's talk Tumbleton. I feel bad for Hugh because... Do I feel bad for Hugh? I don't know. He should have been in King's Landing guarding the Dragon Pit, because Rhaenyra was like, "Hey, stay in King's Landing, guard the Dragon Pit, because Vhagar could be coming, and now that Sunfire has risen from the dead, like a phoenix from the ashes, he could be coming to the Dragon Pit." Did Hugh listen? No. Do I feel bad for him that he lost his wife? Yes. Should she have gone with him when he was in Tumbleton a few episodes ago and he was like, "Get on the dragon with me and let's get the hell out of here and go back to King's Landing"? Yes, she should have. She was stubborn, and that's just like, like, you didn't cause it, but like there were paths to avoid what happened to you. And I do feel bad for him because he does love his wife and he did love his child, and how they were taken from him was not fair and was not right. However, he did have avenues and paths that he offered to like get out, and she didn't listen and she didn't follow and she didn't... what do you want him to do now? Like, you're gone. So I'd like to see how he deals with the aftermath of that, because Rhaenyra did say, like, "Go get your wife, bring her to King's Landing, and I'll give you a house on Visenya's Hill, and you guys will be fine." Granted, the girl ain't got no money, but hey, that we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Ulf. Listen, I I just I don't like him. I don't like him. And the fact that, like, okay, Ormond treated you bad. Okay, Damon treated you really bad, even though he's your, like, half brother. So that's really not okay. And Rhaenyra just took you for granted. Fine. But using the most beautiful, one of the old, well, not maybe not the most beautiful, because Silverwing's not the most beautiful, but one of the oldest dragons to burn the army, and then to turn around and burn Templeton itself was just wild. Um, and he'll get what's coming to him in due time. I don't want to spoil it, but he's gonna get what's coming to him in due time. Probably season 4, episode 1 of House of the Dragon, if they play their cards right. Ormond. Ormond, that man can't take smell. That man can't take pain. That man can't take anything. And, well, he got what he deserved in the end. He played a good game. But like Cersei said to Ned Stark, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. And, well, he took the latter route. What else happened this episode? Alicent seeing the blue butterflies. I think she knows that her daughter has left us. May she rest in peace, dear sweet Helena. Because, like, she sees it and it kind of just registers, like, oh, yeah, that's what that means. Daeron, they left that as a cliffhanger because I don't think he's gone. And Gwaine is still alive as well. Now, in the books, Gwaine is in King's Landing and dies much earlier. He dies when Rhaenyra takes the city, which was the beginning of season 3. Him being at Tumbleton, I like that they've extended his story a little bit. And he sees Ormond's body, fine, but we don't really know what happened to Daeron. So I think he's gonna be looking for Daeron. I don't know if they're gonna be doing a second Tumbleton because they've condensed a lot of the battles, right? There's supposed to be the fish feed. There's supposed to be the sacking of what is that one? So there's the Battle of Bitterbridge. That's where Daeron gets his title, Daeron the Daring, which we heard in a few episodes, but we definitely heard it in this episode, episode 8. But Bitterbridge is where Maelor dies. And then there's the fish feed. There's all these battles. There's 2 Tumbleton battles. And I don't think we're actually going to get it. Just like the Battle of the Burning Mill, we didn't actually see that battle. We just saw the aftermath of the battle. So we may just see the aftermath of the second Tumbleton. I don't know. Baela and Rhaena, or Baela and Rhaenyra, that conversation was very interesting. I don't like that she got physical with Baela. I think that Baela should have just left. Like, you're saying, like, oh, you know, my sister is on house arrest, my grandfather is gone, you won't legitimize essentially her uncles, and now you're mad at me because I want to go get my grandfather. And Rhaenyra was like, you insolent child, like, insolence runs in your blood. And it's just like, come on, like, that's your husband's daughter. Like, what are you going to do? So I didn't really like that. I like the way they're taking Rhaenyra's character down the path of being like Maegor the Cruel. And she's channeling Visenya and Maegor for sure. I think it's going to go even more into that come season 4. There's definitely some huge battles and huge deaths that we're going to get in season 4. I don't like the fact that there's only 4 seasons. Scratch that. 4 seasons is fine because the war is only literally 3 years long. And we've been watching this story for 5 years, 6 years. But it would have been, it would have felt more whole and not as rushed if each episode had 10, if each season had 10 episodes. Cutting it down to 8, fine. Making the episodes longer, you can compensate, sure, because you're adding essentially a little bit of each episode that you're missing. You're tacking it on to every episode. So we're missing 2 hours of TV by missing, if we're making each episode 60 minutes, you've made each episode about 65 to 72 minutes long. That's fine. But at the same time, now the story is going to be rushed because there's a lot of things that happen between Helena dying and the end of the story. And like, where are we ending this story? Are we ending this story at a specific death? Because there's a lot of deaths that happen between this point and the end of the story. Are we going ahead to the hour of the wolf? Are we jumping ahead to the end of the Regency? A lot of people have questions because it's like, okay, the story is fine. Not a lot of people agree or are happy, but where are we going to end it? Where do you think it's going to be ended? I'd like to know where you think the story is going to end, if you know the story, because I don't want to spoil it. But if you think you know where the story ends, either 133, 135, right at 131, because that's when the war officially ends, are we gonna, where do you think it's gonna end? I think it's gonna end with a certain somebody on the throne that a lot of people aren't expecting. But we shall see. We shall see. I've loved this season. I'm gonna, like I said, this weekend, probably into next week, I'm gonna watch season 2 and season 3 continuously all the way through, from season 2 episode 1 to season 3 episode 8. That's 16 episodes. We're missing 4, right? It'd feel whole if it was like 10, 10, 10, 10. But we shall see. Anywho, let me know your thoughts and comments and what would you rate this episode or this season out of 10. I posed that question to like 4 of my friends and they're like, we gotta watch everything again to like really give it a true meaning. I would say I'd give it like a 7.5, 7.5 out of 10, because there were some really good moments, there were some really big battles, there were some really good scenes, but overall it felt rushed and like there could have been more, and yet they were holding back, in my opinion. Anywho, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next week with my thoughts on once I've watched everything all together. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Peace out.